All right, guys, we are back in my garage for another video. And I know on TV, I seem like this perfect little B58 owner that makes all these super calculated decisions so I get exactly what I want and I nail it the first time. But in reality, that's not the case. There are a lot of things that I've screwed up and things that I regret, but it was a learning experience while I was building my car. So in this video, I wanted to talk about all of the biggest mistakes I've made and the things that, I've gone through, and hopefully this can help you avoid making those same mistakes, because most of the videos that I make are usually trying to address something that I've gone through personally as well. So let's go ahead and talk about it, and hopefully you guys find this video useful.
Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future.
So let's jump right into it. The first mistake that I made on this car, and something I sometimes still consider my biggest mistake, is messing up my wheel fitment. Especially in the front on these cars, it can be very tricky because we want, wide wheels and tires. We want really good flush fitment. But the way that our suspension works, it's just not really optimized to run really aggressive wheels and tires. Now, when I got my car, I actually made a lot of really good decisions. Tuning wasn't available yet. All we had were piggybacks, and I wasn't really interested in that. So while I was waiting for flash tuning, I kind of did everything around the car to prepare it. So I did suspension, I did wheels and tires and stuff to give the car better handling so it would be ready when it was time to tune it. And so, like a lot of you guys, I started with springs and then I went to coilovers. And at that time, I still only had the stock wheels and tires. So it really wasn't aggressive at all. And I could go really low without any rubbing or any other issues. And I just really loved the look. But when I actually got my aftermarket wheels and tires, the ones that you see on my car in pictures now, it was much more aggressive. And I ran a really wide tire because I wanted a lot of front end grip. And immediately after that, I went out to a car show. My buddy was hosting an open house at his shop. And so I went there, and pulling into the show, I turned the wheel and my tire ripped a chunk off the bottom of my fender, basically pulled my fender out and tore a chunk off of my tire. And so driving into the show, like as I was pulling into the parking space, my car is constantly rubbing. Every time I turn the wheel, you hear it grinding. Really embarrassing and annoying. Now, thankfully, it was at his shop, like I said, so he had some tools available. He let me use them so I could do a really quick and janky fender tuck, but at the time, it really sucked. I was not really expecting that to happen because I had been driving with my stock wheels at that fitment for so long. I forgot that you probably need to do a little bit of testing if you're doing something new on your car. So at that point, of course, I had to get new tires and stuff. It was a little bit expensive. But definitely do your due diligence, double check that your wheels and tires are going to fit, double check what other people are running. I posted a video on how to take some measurements and stuff to figure out your wheel and tire fitment as well. But yeah, overall, that was something that I hadn't experienced before and gave me a lot more appreciation and made me put a lot more attention to dialing in my wheel fitment properly. Now, speaking of slapping something on and going immediately to a car show, my next biggest regret is changing too many things right before an event. Sometimes it's a car show, that was back in 2018, or sometimes it's a track day, which apparently I'm still doing because I made that same mistake less than 2 months ago. But even if I'm not learning from my mistakes, please do as I say, not as I do. If there's something that you're preparing for, give yourself ample time to test it out, make sure everything's good so that you're not finding yourself out somewhere and running into problems. I know a lot of you guys have posted like, oh, I'm running a race this weekend. Who can tune me on E50 or who can dial this in for, whatever event that you have coming up. And it definitely can be an exciting moment to try to get things on and turned on quick and immediately go out there and start testing it. But keep in mind, testing it by yourself and really getting things dialed in will make the performance that much better. So just give yourself a little time, be a little patient, and work through all those bugs and issues before you find yourself going on a road trip or something like that. Now, this moves us right into my next topic, going too aggressive on mods. And this is something that I've done in the past with an entire build. It's one of my motivations for taking it a lot slower with my current cars and trying to be more methodical and like diligent with how I plan out my mods, because it's really easy to go overboard, especially when you see a lot of people online posting upgraded turbos and fuel setups and then stripping out their car and putting a drag pack on it. And you think that's what you need to have any kind of happiness with your car. It kind of gives us this jaded perspective of what it means to have something quick or fast. And in reality, there are a lot of really simple setups that are plenty of fun. You don't really need to go overboard with it. And what you'll end up finding out is the tires suck. They don't drive well in the wet. They don't drive well in the cold. They wobble on the highway. The car doesn't have good torque down low. It doesn't have good driving manners on the street. The transmission's loud. The engine has a bunch of oil blow by, like all these different problems that come with really building your car to the next level. Not to mention that, of course, it's extremely expensive. And then a lot of people end up selling their car in 1 or 2 years. So don't go too crazy on your mods. And mine, I really didn't do too much that I feel like is too crazy yet. I haven't done any suspension mods or anything that make the car undrivable. Probably the only two things that I immediately turned off were burbles, which I tried when we first got flash tuning, and the GTS startup roar, which I actually forgot I had on, because for any of you that have tried it, typically it doesn't happen on cold start. But I think the first time I went to fill up gas, I put gas in my car and started it up, and it sounded like the entire gas station exploded. Like underneath the canopy, the car revs up to whatever 2,000, 2,500 RPM and has this really dramatic start. And I was like, absolutely not. I don't enjoy this at all. So I know a lot of you guys enjoy like the really loud burbles and stuff like that, but it just wasn't for me. That's why I turned off cold start, turned off GTS roar, all my burbles are off, and it's a much better driving experience in my opinion. So yeah, just consider that. You don't have to go super crazy on stuff. If it gets annoying, turn it off. You're not showing off for anybody. Just set up your car for a way that you actually enjoy it. Now, as far as setting up your car, there are obviously a lot of things that we can spend money on, but the fourth thing that I regret is rushing to buy mods. Again, feeling like I've got a specific date I want to hit, some event that I'm trying to go to or whatever, or I just see something posted and I get excited and I try to buy it immediately. That's really not the best way to plan out your build. If you're trying to make sure that your car can hit specific goals, there are a lot of different options out there, but every option will be its cheapest on Black Friday. And so I know we're coming up on that season. I'll try to reiterate it again. If you can wait until mid to end November when all the sales are. Most of the stuff that you're going to be putting on your cars, these upgraded turbos and fuel pumps for ethanol tunes and stuff like that, you'll barely be able to enjoy it when it's really cold in winter anyway. So just be patient. Get those mods when they're cheapest and when you get the best value. Be a little patient because a lot of times these companies get a lot of orders, so it takes a while to ship things out. But most of my stuff, thankfully, I've been able to score a deal on Black Friday, so that's what I recommend to you guys as well. Also, of course, you can buy parts used. A lot of things like, suspension upgrades and stuff like that that are lightly used, they get significantly discounted if you buy them used. I bought my springs used, I bought my coilovers used, I bought my wheels used. So a lot of the stuff that I was initially doing to modify my car, I was really patient, and when I saw a deal, I jumped on it. Now, of course, there are a lot of scammers out there, and out of fear of them finding out what we know about them, I don't want to share too much, but just do your due diligence, especially in the Facebook groups and stuff like that. If somebody posts something that's really cheap, like way cheaper than it should be, again, don't rush and buy it. Double check and make sure that it's a legitimate seller. Make sure you're using buyer protection, PayPal goods and services or something like that, just to protect yourself so you don't end up sending money to somebody that has no intention of sending you the parts. These guys are out there. I haven't actually been scammed, thankfully, but I've had people try to scam me. This one guy said he was going to buy my parts and sent me with PayPal money, and then when I opened up the email, I realized it was fake. It was like a screenshot of a PayPal email to make it look like he had sent me the money. So I would just send him the parts and realize I had nothing in my account. So yeah, do your due diligence. A lot of times we recommend they put a piece of paper in the image of the parts with the handwritten note or a star or something so you know it's real, and that'll make sure you're covered. And then the last thing, and probably still the most common issue I hear you guys having, is calculating my ethanol mix wrong. And yes, I have been there. I've tried to calculate it once and it worked, So then I just started guesstimating, and then immediately it doesn't work. That's why both of my cars are running flex fuel now. That's why I just decided to eliminate any reason to calculate mixes, because it works fine when it works. But if you're not doing your due diligence, it's very easy to get it wrong. And so, I hated experiencing that because one, when you're trying to beat on your car and enjoy your car and it's breaking up, that's not fun. And then waiting to run out of gas so that you can refill up and add some more pump gas or figure out your mix from there, that's not fun either. So again, if you are calculating a mix, especially if you're running some of these stock high pressure fuel pump tunes and stuff that are kind of close to the limit, make sure you're calculating your mix right. Use an ethanol tester, use a calculator app on your phone or whatever tool you prefer so that you calculate your mix properly at the pump. So yeah, those are probably the top 5 things I regret or feel like I made mistakes as far as, building and driving and enjoying my B58. Let me know if you guys have any similar experiences or anything you think I missed, but I just kind of wanted to let you guys know from a realistic perspective, yes, I run into problems too. But for now, that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.